Live.
Welcome back. Sorry about Monday. I am old new dude. He is.
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
I had to get that in there because here lately I've been forgetting to introduce ourselves. Sorry about Monday. Had a sick kid at the house. Now I got all but two people in my house sick with the flu, and I'm playing nurse, which sucks. But it's Wednesday, and we are doing Sansa
Uh-oh.
5.
I'm getting some echo.
Yeah, my volume was up on the tablet. I got it.
Okay, you're good? All right,
Yep.
cool.
All right, Game of Thrones Sansa 5. And if you've watched any of these, you know that the brains of the operation, Richard, will go through and see and say what he saw in the chapter, and then I'll jump in with my stupid stuff every now and then. I'll be honest
Well,
with you, I did not find a lot in this chapter that jumped out at me. There was, I mean, I guarantee you got every bit of it. But just in
okay, great.
case, I might jump in. But take it away,
All
Richard.
right. All right. So in this chapter, the Lannisters make some unprecedented moves, and Sansa begs for mercy for Ned. The walls of the throne room had been stripped bare, the hunting tapestries that King Robert loved taken down and stacked in the corner in an untidy heap. So I still don't get whether there is more to these tapestries or not. As of the Wind sample chapters, they're just a small part of a big bribe, which seems kind of like not much, right? But given how much buildup there's been about them, it sure feels like there should still be something more to come, right?
Well, I mean, if George says something 20 times, don't pay too much attention to it. But if he mentions it like 2 or 3 times, then chances are it's probably important. We just don't know why.
He mentions it a lot of times, and it just keeps coming up, and it's this really small part of the big bribe that Littlefinger. So anyway, she recognized black-skinned Jalbarjo, gloomy Sir Aaron Santagar, the Redwine twins, Horror and Slobber. Only none of them seemed to recognize her, or if they did, they shied away as if she had the gray plague. Sickly Lord Giles covered his face at her approach and feigned a fit of coughing. And when funny drunken Sir Dantos started to hail her, Sir Balin Swan whispered in his ear, and he turned away. So Sansa's a bit of a pariah here.
Oh, yeah. It's also funny that they mentioned the Gray Plague in the Red Keep.
Yep.
Foreshadowing for John Connington.
Right. And people theorize that maybe he'll be like thrown down a well because of the number of times people have thrown down wells and poisoned and things. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, not one of them would meet her eyes. It was as if she'd become a ghost, dead before her time. That's some ominous foreshadowing. Although it's probably worth pointing out that depending upon your interpretations of the quote from the Cosmo article about not killing off Paris's favorite character, it's sort of implied that he's not allowed to kill either Sansa or Arya in that Cosmo article. You search for what's it called? Something like that. But the reason Arya Stark will not be dying in Game of Thrones anytime soon, or something like that. Anyway, there's Cosmopolitan.com. It's a famous article that Maester Monthly doesn't believe exists. But anyway.
Well, I'm not up to date on my Cosmo, so.
Oh, I've tweeted that article at you lots of times. We've talked about that. That's the one where Macy Williams comments.
I just wanted to say I wasn't up to date on my Cosmo. It was a joke.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I just know I knew you'd read it. That's why. Anyway, she saw Lord Varys hurry into the hall, his feet making no sound. So Dorcas frequently is mentioned to be silent.
Which is the Dorcas, the merman theory that I don't understand. Is he wearing like a dress all the way to the floor that nobody can see his feet move, or is it just?
He's got some like special slippers, I think.
The pointed, curled up slippers.
Yeah, it's got some like special slippers, I think, but I'm not sure.
Chances are that
I think it goes to his training, right? The fact that he's been a cutthroat and so forth, and so that's the real point, is that he and Illyrio are both skilled at moving quietly.
Yes.
All hail his grace, Joffrey of the houses Baratheon and Lannister, the first of his name, King of the Andals, the Rhoynar and the First Men, and Lord of the Seven Kingdoms. All hail his Lady Mother, Cersei of House Lannister, Queen Regent, Light of the West, and Protector of the Realm. So Baratheon and Lannister is obviously a bit suspicious when you're supposed to be establishing yourself as legitimate Baratheon. But Light of the West for his lady mother is kind of interesting too, right? It's
Yeah.
Anyway,
Titles
interesting
beget titles.
choices. Yeah, interesting choices of titles.
Yeah.
Joff wore plush black velvet slashed with crimson, a shimmering cloth of gold cape with a high collar, and on his head a golden crown crusted with rubies and black diamonds. So there's some serious Targaryen symbolism in there. For more Targaryen symbolism around Joffrey and his parents, see Triple Targaryens, episode 5.
It's like every chapter now, man. I'm loving it. Hey, let's see if you can squeeze it in every chapter in the rest of this book.
All right, we'll see what I can do. All right.
I think
Durin Martell, probably. Durin Martell, Prince of Dorne, and all his sons. So it's a bizarre statement, especially when Cersei knows Dornish inheritance rules. Right? Durin Martell's Prince of Dorne and all his sons. It kind of goes to the whole theme of female equality getting erased from history, right?
Well, I mean, you would think that with Cersei wanting equality and thinking that she is Lord Tywin with Teats, I mean,
she's constantly thinking about that and so forth.
Weird.
Arya, they wanted Arya to present herself and swear an oath. It must mean her sister had fled on the galley. She must be safe at Winterfell by now. If only. She's the furthest thing from safe. Anyway, in the place of the traitor Stannis Baratheon, it is the wish of his grace that his lady mother, the Queen Regent Cersei Lannister, who has ever been his staunchest support, be seated upon his small council, that she may help him rule wisely and with justice. So the king has decreed. The small council consents. Sansa heard a soft murmuring from the lords around her, but was quickly stilled. Pycelle continued. It is also the wish of his grace that his loyal servant, Janos Slynt, commander of the city watch of King's Landing, be at once raised to the rank of lord and granted the ancient seat of Harrenhal with all its attendant lands and incomes, and that his sons and grandsons shall hold these honors after him until the end of time. It is moreover his command that Lord Slynt be seated immediately upon his small council to assist in the governance of the realm. So the king has decreed. The small council consents. Sansa glanced motion from the corner of her eyes. Janos Slynt made his entrance. This time the muttering was louder and angrier. Proud lords whose houses went back thousands of years made way reluctantly for the balding, frog-faced commoner as he marched past. It's the insult of a commoner raised for betrayal that Tyrion and Tywin removed Janos Slynt. So I don't think we should be that enthusiastic about the Lannister hatred of this move and nobles' hatred of this move. They're not mad because he betrayed Ned as much as they're mad that this crass commoner evil deeds have lifted him up above most of the lords of the Seven Kingdoms.
Right. Yeah. Which that was always a strange move for me because chances are they could have just thrown gold at him. And he'd still done the same thing.
Right, and Tywin's like, what the heck are they thinking? This is, and maybe some of Tywin and Tyrion's logic is this is just unacceptable to everyone. But in general, I don't share the realm's dislike for commoners being elevated. So I find their hatred a little bit. I have mixed feelings. I'm ambivalent about the hatred that Tywin and Tyrion showed to Janos Slynt.
Yeah.
Not that I don't have plenty of my own hatred for Janos Slynt. Exactly. I got plenty of my own hatred. But anyway. Only death may relieve the Lord Commander of his sacred trust. Whose death, Sir Barristan? The Queen's voice was soft as silk, but her words carried the whole length of the hall. Yours or your king's? So this may be echoed when Jon Snow comes back in terms of his oath lasting until his death and so forth.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one thing that it really struck me about that is we might see this repeated, and one way I could see that repeated is that Jon's death's already happened.
Well, I mean, even if you think that Order the Green Hand is correct and Jon Snow's alive and they actually killed Tormund, who is glamored as Jon Snow, then the appearance of the death of Jon Snow would still negate his duties to the Watch. Does that make sense?
Potentially, or at least it raises the same kind of questions and so forth, right?
Right.
He reached up and undid the clasps that held his cloak in place, and the heavy white garment slithered from his shoulders to fall in a heap on the floor. His helmet dropped with a clang. I am a knight, he told them. He opened the silver fastenings of his breastplate and let them fall as well. I shall die a knight. A naked knight, it would seem, quoth Littlefinger. They all laughed then, Joffrey on his throne and the lords standing audience, Janos Slynt and Queen Cersei and Sandor Clegane, and even the other men of the Kingsguard, the five who had been his brothers until a moment ago. Surely that must have hurt the most, Sansa thought. Her heart went out to the gallant old man as he stood shamed and red-faced, too angry to speak. Finally, he drew his sword. Sansa heard someone gasp. Sir Boros and Sir Meryn moved forward to confront him, and Sir Barristan froze them in place with a look that dripped contempt. Have no fear, sirs. Your king is safe. No thanks to you. Even now I could cut through the five of you as easy as a dagger cuts cheese. If you would serve under the Kingslayer, not a one of you is fit to wear the white. He flung his sword at the foot of the Iron Throne. Here, boy, melt it down and add it to the others if you like. It will do you more good than the swords in the hands of these five. Perhaps Lord Stannis will chance to sit on it when he takes your throne. He took the long way out, his steps ringing loud against the floor and echoing off the bare stone walls. Lords and ladies parted to let him pass. Not until the pages had closed the great oak and bronze doors behind him did Sansa hear sounds again. Soft voices, uneasy stirrings, the shuffle of papers from the council table. He called me boy, Joffrey said peevishly, sounding younger than his years. He talked about my Uncle Stannis, too. Idle talk, said Varys the eunuch, without meaning. He could be making plots with my uncles. I want him seized and questioned. No one moved. Joffrey raised his voice. I said, I want him seized. Janos Slynt rose from the council table. My gold cloaks will see to it, your grace. That's not happening.
No. There was one thing, and I don't know if it has any bearing later on, but when Littlefinger enters the hall, she notices that he speaks friendly to, was it Sir Balon Swan and Sir Dantos before sitting at the table.
Could be important, couldn't it? So we know Dantos is one of his agents. So the implication is that could be associating Balon Swan as one of his agents too. I like that.
I think it's Balon Swan. My notes are upstairs. I've been working on a car all morning, and apparently I am the world's worst mechanic because I have to keep going buying parts.
When is that?
It should be the first page, I think.
All right, let me put back here. That's really interesting. So then war which takes place. Okay, that's in Freeman Castle. The first court session. A line away House Guard. Blah, blah, blah. What were the rest of the gone? Not one of them. Oh wait. Maybe it's right there. Okay. A moment later, Lord Baelish entered. Okay, so this is right after the Lord Varys hurried into the hall, his feet making a sound. A moment later, Lord Baelish entered through the tall doors in the rear, smiling. He chatted amiably with Sir Balon and Sir Dantos as he made his way. Yeah, way to the front. Yeah, that's a good catch. The fact that he's chatting amiably with Sir Balon just as much as Sir Dantos. So I think of Sir Balon as like
Sir Dantos we would think, yeah,
but Sir Balon you mostly think of as the one true knight amongst them kind of a guy, right? He's like almost the best at everything too. He's like second best at archery and so forth. He's like way up there, and
he's the only one that wouldn't speak ill of Tyrion, correct?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he was really reluctant to say anything bad about Tyrion and so forth.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good catch. I think it was worth taking the time to go back and catch that. That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah, like I said, the Dantos is of course, no problem. We know that's going to happen, but the Balon just threw me for a loop.
Yeah, that's I like it. Anyway, yeah, good job catching that.
No problem.
All right. So we're going to be on the head here next. All right. I warn you, I'll say no knight's vows. The sworn brothers of the Kingsguard have always been knights, Sir Boros said firmly. Until now, the Hound said in his deep rasp, and Sir Boros fell silent. There's a lot of unprecedented moves here.
Yeah.
Now, she told herself, I must do it now. God's given me courage. She took one step, then another. Lords and knights stepped aside silently to let her pass, and she felt the weight of their eyes on her. I must be as strong as my lady mother. So one thing we should point out is that you do get that one step and then another many, many times in these books. The one that's most obvious to people is probably Sam running away from the others, but John and the Frostfangs, it happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
But what's most interesting to this, I think, is that she thinks of Catelyn as the epitome of strength, basically. So I'm not disputing that, but I do wonder what she might have seen that has convinced her that Catelyn is sort of the epitome of strength to refer to. I know that she's clearly her role model, the ultimate female working with female power within the patriarchy system. So I get that, right? She kind of thinks that Cersei might be as well, but a role model there. So I kind of get that, but it's interesting to think of her as strong, and just wondering if there's something specific that's led her to the conclusion that Catelyn is like the ultimate strength.
Well, I mean, she's only seen her mother basically run the house, run Winterfell.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I mean, it just flows off of you being strong, being decisive.
Yeah, it seems a little weird though that the more you think about it, that she just doesn't have very many frames of reference.
Well, I mean, she's what, 13, 11, 12?
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, there's a couple. I mean, she reminds me of Kat in this chapter several times,
Sure.
Especially about the freedom to go see the Sept, and then
right, and Tyrion is supposed to be an echo of Ned, and she's supposed to be an echo of Kat, and that she's the Tyrion's second wife, and so forth, right? And Tyrion is basically a bigamist because I can guarantee you that there really was a marriage there, and there really wasn't an annulment because it didn't have the authority to annul. So,
aren't we told that it takes the High Septon to annul?
Yeah. So I don't think there's any chance that Tyrion isn't officially married, but anyway, twice or bigamist. Sansa, you disappoint me. What did I tell you about traitor's blood? Your father has committed grave and terrible crimes, my lady, Grand Maester Pycelle intoned. Ah, poor sad thing, sighed Varys. She's only a babe, my lords. She does not know what she asks. Sansa had eyes only for Joffrey. He must listen to me. He must, she thought. The king shifted on his seat. Let her speak, he commanded. I want to hear what she says. Thank you, your grace. Sansa smiled, a shy, secret smile just for him. He was listening. She knew he would. Treason is a noxious weed, Pycelle declared solemnly. It must be torn up, root and stem and seed, lest new traitors sprout from every roadside. Do you deny your father's crime? Lord Baelish asked. No, my lords. Sansa knew better than that. I know he must be punished. All I ask is mercy. I know my lord father must regret what he did. He was King Robert's friend, and he loved him. You all know he loved him. He never wanted to be hanged until the king asked him. They must have lied to him. Lord Renly or Lord Stannis or somebody, they must have lied. Otherwise, King Joffrey leaned forward, hands grasping the arms of the throne. Broken sword points fanned out between his fingers. He said I wasn't the king. Why did he say that? His leg was broken, Sansa replied eagerly. It hurt ever so much. Maester Pycelle was giving him milk of the poppy, and they said that milk of the poppy fills your head with clouds. Otherwise, he would never have said it. Varys said, a child's faith, such sweet innocence. And yet, they say wisdom oft comes from the mouths of babes. Treason is treason, Pycelle replied at once. Joffrey rocked restlessly on the throne. Mother? Cersei Lannister considered Sansa thoughtfully. If Lord Eddard were to confess his crime, she said at last, we would know he had repented his folly. Joffrey pushed himself to his feet. Please, Sansa thought, please, be the king I know you are, good and kind and noble, please. Do you have any more to say? He asked her. Only that as you love me, you do me this kindness, my prince, Sansa said. King Joffrey looked her up and down. Your sweet words have moved me, he said gallantly, nodding as if to say all would be well. I shall do as you ask, but first your father has to confess. He has to confess and say that I'm the king, or there will be no mercy for him. He will, Sansa said, heart soaring. Oh, I know he will. So we read much of this previously because of the mouth of babes line and the idea of Ned's leg hurting both came up in Sansa 3. And this is followed immediately by, and this chapter here is going to be followed immediately by Ned's final chapter, which we already recorded. So our next chapter that we're going to do in a live stream will be Catelyn 9 with Jaime not wearing a helm and the most blatant Targaryen symbolism in the series. See, Triple Targaryens, episode 5.
Hey, you got 2 of them in there this time.
Same episode though. This is all about the the Targaryen, Lannister, Baratheons.
Right. There's not a whole lot here on this one.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said,
Which I think the last couple have been kind of that way. It's just story building, getting stuff moving.
Yeah, it's kind of going at a pretty fast pace, right? Switching back and forth between different things and so forth.
Yeah, I was shocked though when she makes the comment about having the freedom to roam the Red Keep or whatever, and having an escort as long as she didn't cross the bridge. Like she's allowed to go to Sif to pray for her father, which that was like, and that's like little cat all day long. But then she made the comment that she still took time to go to the Godswood because the Starks kept the old god, which threw me off a little bit for her, which is the start of her going to the Godswood, and then you have the Dantos later on in the Godswood. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, was that just a little bit of Hidden Fingers getting her to go to the Godswood ahead of time, to where when she starts going to the Godswood for Dantos, it doesn't look out of place? I don't know. But I mean, just her going to the Godswood this early in the story, considering that she is basically, as John is a carbon copy of Ned, she's at this point seems to be a carbon copy of Kat.
Yeah, and which makes sense again, since she's supposed to be, right. That's kind of
right. But yeah, you see, you start slowly seeing the difference between her and Kat as the story goes along, and she becomes her own person without a doubt. Leaving the shadow that Kat had made on her as far as her first 12, 13 years, and then actually becoming her own person through the tutelage of Littlefinger and just the stuff that happens to her. She becomes one of the her chapters to begin with. I can't stand. It's just it's like brands. I read them just because I have to.
Well, we do see. Well, first off, I tend to like Brand's chapters because I'm all obsessed with his thoughts and his.
I know.
But and you know he's the main magical force in the series, so it's important to follow his stuff. But but she really does get a lot from her upbringing, right, with the Starks. I mean, she really is good at the courtesy. She really is good at, and it's commented multiple times. I mean, you see it first when she greets the those Barristan and Renly and names Renly and so forth, right? But she really is skilled at the skills that she's supposed to be skilled at as a lady growing up. So they did a good job with giving her what she's supposed to have, and she knows how to use it. It becomes important for her to do so. So, but she's also learning the more ruthless and realist kind of approaches of Cersei and Littlefinger. And
I give her top marks for the whole broken leg thing. Milk of the Poppy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was brilliant.
Yeah. Everybody knows it fills your head with clouds.
Yeah, there you go.
So and she, as we said, she'd kind of done the same thing earlier, right? She said that's why he didn't send Sir Loras. In Sansa 3. So anyway, it's kind of nice how those things both of those things, the wisdom of babes and Sansa, the wisdom from the mouth of babes in Sansa 3, and the leg hurting causing the bad decisions sort of come back right here.
The small council on that subject seemed to be a little bit orchestrated.
Oh yeah.
As far as
it almost feels rehearsed, right? The fact that they've already consented. They've already given. It's clear that they already know what's happening. So this has all been discussed ahead of time.
Yeah. Oh, you got anything else on this one?
No, not really. I mean, there were a few things that we mentioned that you could kind of go into more details on, I suppose. Like, we could always go into more details on the whole Targaryen thing, but like I said, tapestries are fun to speculate about whether they'll actually mean anything. Yeah, I really like your catch on the surveillance one. That's really interesting.
I have
I
my
still don't quite. I'm kind of curious about the whole Light of the West thing.
It's out of place.
Yeah, and like I said, the Duran Martellus, Prince of Dorian, all his sons. It's a bizarre statement.
Light of the West sounds like something out of Tolkien.
Yeah, yeah, and all his sons. You never say all when you're referring to two. You say both.
Ooh. Hey, you remember the was it Aaron and the vision with the tentacled man and the woman of light beside him?
The pale light or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
for a second
yeah.
there, as soon as they said Light of the West,
Pale
that
fire.
popped in my head.
Is that
Was that?
that's in pale hands pale fire or something? What is it? Is it hands of pale fire? What's the term?
I can't remember.
No, that's not it. I can't remember.
I haven't read it, but I remember somebody talking about it. I can't remember who was talking about it, but I remember him talking about the lady of the of light would. I don't know. That just popped in the head
Hmm.
because there's speculation on whether it was Danny, whether it was Cersei, whether it was Quaithe, whether it was
Yeah, I'm trying to find that.
Mel. I forget who else they had in there, but that's the Light of the West. That's like the only time we've heard that expression in the entire book, isn't it?
That's a good question. Here,
I look.
I got Situation Fire up.
Okay, I was getting ready to pull it up.
Light of the West. Yeah, that's the only time it ever appears. Light of the West only appears right there in the entire, at least the first three books. I didn't search the whole thing.
Well, it's odd for him to only say something once.
Yeah, Light of the West. I put Light of the West in quotes on Search of Ice and Fire and did the first 5 books, and it only comes up that one time. Huh. Just dropped, I guess. What is it? I can't think of what the hands. You're talking about in the House of Undying, right?
No. I was talking about in what is it? Aaron's the sample chapter of I can't remember which one it is. What it's called.
I can't find it. All right. The Forsaken is what you're thinking of.
Yeah. That's it.
Huh. Anyway, I can't find it. I'll have to go back and reread the Forsaken or reread the.
Now, does the sample chapters pop up in the search?
Some of them, the ones that are like in the app and stuff, they don't have like all of them. I usually, if I ever want to download them, I usually just go to PDF drive and type Win the Winner in and PDF drive. Yeah. But anyway, all right. Well, I guess that's about it. I can't find the stuff I was looking for. So
not a problem. It's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
House full of kids and working on cars. I'm exhausted. I'm not gonna lie. I did not give this chapter the its due diligence, just for simple fact is I'm going 20 different ways this week. So I do apologize for not.
Hey, you caught a key thing that I missed, so I appreciate it.
Ain't no problem. Like I said, I have my moments.
Yeah,
we should be back on track Monday.
Usually at least one major one every chapter. It feels like it seems like you're always got something great you find.
Yeah, well, I think these last.
Yeah, Monday sounds good.
All right,
Monday sounds good. I'm gonna have an eye exam Monday afternoon. Hopefully, I'll get my eye scheduled to get fixed.
I did that last Monday.
Well, I need to get my lunch replaced.
I want to get contacts because I can't stand the glasses, but I'm 52. I'm not really used to doing new stuff. So I want it to where I don't have to wear my glasses for my costume at Ice and Fire Con.
I mean, in general, usually eye surgery is cheaper than contacts in the long run. But at 52, yeah, I don't know. It's probably doable. It's probably still now whether you'd want to do like the two different focal lengths or what. Some people actually they'll do the cataract surgery without having cataracts. It's called replacement lens exchange. I know a guy that did that. He's pretty happy with it, but I'm not. I'm planning on getting a sort of the least popular lens of the three most popular lenses. I'm planning on getting the least popular one. So if you get replacement lenses in your eyes, what they'll do is there's the one that's basically like maximum distance focus, which is what most people do. It's the cheapest one, right? And that's technically as good as we can get with artificial lenses for distance. So anything else is going to be not quite as good for distance in theory by like a smidge, right? And it's going to have a little more, and anything else is going to have a little more side effects in terms of like halos and stuff. People can feel free to tune us out here because we're on to non-ice and fire things, obviously. But so and then there's the trifocal ones are the ones that are the second most popular, which is they have really good focus at comfortable reading distance, phones and watches and reading. They have a second focus at computer desk distance, and then they have the third as being the great distance. The problem is between that great distance and computer desk distance, they're actually not. They're noticeably not perfect, and that seems a little weird. And some people really can't deal with it and wind up actually reversing the procedure and so forth. And then the third most popular are the ones that I'm interested in, which is the extended depth of field. So those are really close to as good at distance. They cost exactly the same as the trifocals, right? You're looking at wholesale price about $1,000 an eye. The higher end places will probably mark that up again. So you maybe look at as much as $2,000 extra an eye. But anyway, the point is the extended depth of field is probably better than my healthy eye, right? Because I'm 50, and all the comparisons are usually done as looking at what does a typical healthy 50-year-old eye look like compared to this, and pretty much every distance you're going to be better off with the extended depth of field, the artificial one. Than so I'm looking forward to it. Like if I could get my right eye to be as good or better than my left eye, I'd be golden.
You feel like the $6 million man.
Yeah, it's terrible, dude. It's terrible. It was really great initially. So the problem is I have cataracts, right? And which was wonderful initially, because what happens is your vision in that eye starts to get a little bit distorted and a little bit nearsighted. And so what wound up happening was my right eye got a little bit nearsighted when my left eye was typical presbyopia, 50-year-old eye here. Well, really, it was when I was feeling good about it, it would have been more like 49. But so it's like for a while there, I had perfect vision everywhere, right? I mean, because your brain is pretty good at taking if there's some distance in which you have pretty close to perfect vision, your brain is pretty good at taking whichever eye is doing a better job and combining them, and sometimes even getting better than either one of them individually can do. So when I first started to develop a cataract, I didn't know what I was developing a cataract. I just knew my vision got really good. And then it got to the point where it was bad, and now it's gotten to the point where it's really annoying me.
Well, but I have one eye that blinks normal, and I have the other eye that only blinks like once every 5 blinks on the left side. It blink all the time. This one, I mean, I can sit there and watch it on the playback, and I'm like, okay, it's not blinking. So it'll get blurry, and the vision in it is the same as both eyes, but the fact that it doesn't blink the eye
Oh,
strain.
I'll be right back. I want to show you something. Oh, if I can find it. Oh shoot, I don't know where it is. Oh, I don't know what to do with it. All right, I bought an eye patch. I was gonna try and put on my eye patch, but oh well, I don't know where I put it. I'll have to find it.
I got two of them. I bought a really cool pirate one at Spirit of Halloween. That it's leather or pleather. It's got the little cross of the skull and crossbones on it. It's pretty cool.
So this one, the problem with this one is that the fastener thing is like right in the middle of your forehead, and it's clearly metal and precision engineered metal to the point where it's like not very believable as an old time eye patch, right? You wouldn't probably have an eye patch like that. So it's probably not a good costume eye patch, but I didn't buy it to be a costume. I bought it because I wanted to really.
Well, this has got the one band going this way, but it's got two bands going back, one on top of the ear, one on the bottom of the ear. It's pretty cool eye patch as far as eye patches go. Anyway, sometimes I literally just close my right eye just so I can get a clearer image, because it's occasionally my brain will, especially if it's dark and there's no frame of reference there. If I look with my right eye, I'm getting like double and triple vision, massive distortion, because that's what it does. It doesn't look at all. It's not at all darker or anything, right? The colors are exactly the same. It's just distorted to the point where now up close it's pretty good, but far away it's like double and triple vision when I close my left eye. If I close my right eye, my left eye's pretty good, so that works out pretty well, right? But yeah, if I look at the moon at night, where there's blackness and then light. So if I close my right eye, I see perfect, right? If I close my left eye, I see like three moons. And if I look at both eyes, because my brain is getting an image of three moons and one moon, it still sees three moons. It doesn't have that extra frame of reference of all that extra light and things around it to be able to say, oh, this is the good image, right? So at night I wind up getting like double and triple vision. It's really awful. Would suck.
It does suck. I'm looking forward to getting it fixed. Like I said, nobody wants to hear this. All right.
Yeah, if they've stayed this long there, I mean, I swear, they're definitely diehards. All right. Well, have a happy Thanksgiving to anybody watching. Please have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody's got a long weekend, 4-day weekend. And we will see y'all Monday for what is it? Cat 6 or Cat 4?
I think I wrote it down. It's Cat 9.
Oh, Cat 9. Damn. I was way off. All right. We'll see everybody Monday for Cat 9. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe and be good. Bye.
You too.